I'm so glad to be here. The steak and the scissors.
Steak and scissors? Oh, you mean the wizard CZ and never wrong Nick Bull.
You have never hunted something like this. Don't hunt what you can't kill, fella.
So it's that kind of wrestling podcast.
I want to be the guy throwing snakes at people.
Then you found the right place. The podcast by the fan, for the fan. The card subject to change.
The surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, Mantar.
Here now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the Wizard CZ and never wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan, for the fan. So happy you're with us. So happy you've joined us. So happy you found our little corner of the world. I am your host, never wrong, Nick Bull. Thank you so much for joining us on a nice, lazy Monday afternoon, a Memorial Day weekend. We hope you all out there have had a great one. Spending time with family, friends, and of course, being responsible when you do that. Of course, we're all smart here. We all celebrate responsibly. Of course, I'd be remiss if I did not introduce to you my tag team partner. Not only is he my tag team partner, he is also a certified wizard, and you can't teach that. More on that in a bit, but you can't teach that. We'll talk about that later. But he is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing, bud?
I'll be honest, I'm a little tired.
Why? Why are you tired?
Late night, early morning.
I got you. Yep.
We watched the pay-per-view last night. I did anyway. Late night. Thanks to Tony Khan, and then I can't seem to sleep past 8:00. So yeah.
You've been up for a while.
What's that?
So you've been up for a while.
Just a little bit. Yeah. I did get a nap in, but that's neither here nor there. We're just going to use today, nice, easy Memorial Day. We're not talking about anything in particular. We'll cover the weekend a little bit. But yeah, just going to talk about
like we always do. You said you watched that show late last night. I saw some highlights this morning, but it sounded like AEW had a really decent show. I know we've browbeaten them here on this show. I have, probably a little unnecessarily, but just what they were doing previously really wasn't tripping my trigger. I've seen some of the stuff from the show last night. Buddy got it, sent me a feed late, and I watched it late last night. And I thought it was a really good show. I didn't like everything on the show, but I thought there was more good stuff than bad. Really liked the main event of Darby and MJF.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good main event with no shenanigans. There was no outside interference. It was just those two. And just a brief note on Darby Allin. He had a pretty impressive title reign with the defenses and whatnot. I wish, man, they would focus. I wish he would focus. I wish AEW would push him in the direction of focusing, of relying more on his in-ring ability, because the guy seems to know, seems to be able to wrestle. I'm not saying a legit shooter by any means, but being able to get in there and do some stuff instead of this career-shortening hardcore stuff. My God, the guy damn near broke his neck in the first minute and a half of the match last night.
Oh, geez.
Side landing like on his neck and shoulders. But hats off to Darby Allin on his reign. I thought MJF and Darby had an excellent match. I thought Takeshita and Okada was an excellent match. I liked Swerve and Bandito.
Ospreay and Joe was
and
pretty
I
good.
thought the FTR Edge and Christian match was good for what it was with the stipulation. So yeah, Ospreay and Joe, I mean, there was never any doubt that Ospreay wasn't going to win. And he's going to win the tournament, and he's going to challenge probably MJF now at All In Wembley. So, yeah, I didn't get to, I watched probably like 85% of that show last night, really late, and didn't get to watch the rest of it this morning. But yeah, pretty good show on their part. Hats off to AEW.
Yeah, good job, AEW. This is their Memorial Day tradition with Double or Nothing. You said you hit the nail on the head. You didn't like everything on the show, but that's everywhere you go. You're not going to like
No, that's all right.
everything out there. Nobody does. But no, I enjoyed it. I stepped outside of myself because I haven't really watched AEW religiously or even remotely closely over the last few months. I've been hit and miss. I've watched the beginning of shows. I've seen a couple of the main events with Darby. I really didn't care for the way Darby won the title. I'll agree with you. I think he's got some wrestling chops, but he's doing his stuntman shtick right now, and I think he needs to get away from that. It's going to shorten his career 100%.
God, I hope he. I know everybody will say, "Oh, that's who he is. That's who he is." But man, you've seen Mick Foley get around. I mean, he has a hard time walking, and I just don't want that to be Darby. But that seems to be the path he's going down. But hats off to AEW for putting on a good show. One of their big four during Memorial Weekend, as you said, Double or Nothing. Of course, there was a Saturday night's main event, which on paper wasn't really that great,
right?
But it seemed to be a well-received show in the arena. The crowd seemed to be into it. I thought the best match on the card, I'm not going to break down each match, but I thought the best match on the card was Penta and Ethan Page. And
I believe that should have been the main. I
know, but the Vision's a bigger story.
I get it.
That's why they did it. And having Braun Breaker and Heyman there is a bigger deal, but I agree. And I think with this tag team, or with this match with Penta and Ethan Page, is there such thing as a good loss? Yeah, I think there is. Ethan Page lost, a high-profile match in a primetime setting, and there's a reason why he's on the main roster. He was the highlight of NXT for quite some time while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
He stole the segments that he was in. His mic skills got better. His wrestling in-ring work got a lot better. And now you're starting to see it. Excellent match with Penta. Definitely the match of the night on that show, in my opinion. And I think a lot of big things are coming this year for Page on the main roster.
I certainly hope so. I've liked him, maybe not as much in AEW, but I've liked him since AEW, and just coming into NXT, he really grew into his own and really took command of the show. Like you said, he was a top player in NXT his entire time there. I don't think they let off the gas on him once while he was down there. So, excuse me, kudos to him. What do you see next for him? Does he continue on with Penta for a little bit? Is this going to be an ongoing feud, or is this going to put him somewhere else?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. Penta's had a pretty good run of defenses against a wide gamut and a range of people. I don't know. I think this was maybe like, hey, you're getting this high profile match, you're going to lose, but you're still going to be featured somewhere. SummerSlam's on the horizon. We got a few months to get there. That's the second biggest show of the year. You got to think with 2 nights, your goal is to get on that show if you're like an Ethan Page. So hopefully you're getting a program to work throughout the summer to culminate that. So Stay tuned to that. I don't know who he's going to be working with. If it's still with Penta, great. We'll get more of what we got the other night from Saturday night's main event. They seem to mesh well in the ring. I really like the leaps and bounds that Page has made, and I am really excited to see. He's at a year at this point. A month after WrestleMania, and then heading into the summer.
Right. So I know you and I talked about this a little yesterday. I'll bring it up on air. I wish that just every once in a while they would do something bigger for Saturday night's main event. A title change, a big turn. It just seems the matches are usually really good.
Did you say turd?
What?
Did you say turd?
Turn.
No. Okay. Just checking. If they had a big turd, I think that'd be pretty significant.
Well, I mean, oh, we're already off the rails.
I know we are.
No, I mean, there have been a total of 4 title changes in Saturday night's main event history. 2 in the modern era, 2 in the I guess golden era.
Golden era, right?
The Brainbusters and Demolition. Was it Sean and Davey Boy? I looked it up and I can't remember off the top. And the 2 in the modern era, I can't think of off the top of my head. I know I looked it up last night, but they were on the same show.
Okay, right.
I would love to see some kind of big to do and give us this reason, keep us guessing as to what's going to happen and keep us tuned in. They're like, oh, you missed Saturday night's main event, you missed this. Give us a reason to go back and watch it if we missed it, you know?
No, I totally agree. Give us right. That card, if you were a teacher and you were grading homework, that card on paper was mailing it in.
Yeah.
You could have done better. And I mean, they had some big stars there. They got some decent matches. The crowd seemed to genuinely enjoy the show. So I wouldn't be able to give you star ratings for each match if I had to, but
no, I couldn't either.
The best match to me, leaps and bounds, was Paige and Penta. And the rest of the stuff was fine, but I know what you mean. I would like Saturday nights main events to mean something instead of just fulfilling an obligation.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what this felt like on paper. The action was fine in the ring. We got to see the Street Profits back in a main event, which is great.
Very awesome.
Awesome to see that. However, I would like to see Saturday night's main event mean a little more something. And then you got to think about a week from now is Clash in Italy. So
less than a week.
They weren't going to have a ton of fireworks for that when they've got that, in the following week, which is in a bigger show. So it just seemed, more or less, above average filler.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Italy. Let's kind of preview, give our thoughts on what's happening. Obviously, there's 4 official matches, and then 1 match that I'm assuming is going to be made official tonight with the signing of the contract by Oba. But you've got 2 world title matches on the men's side. You've got a women's world title match and the women's intercontinental title match already set according to Wikipedia. I'm going to start with Cody and Gunther. I wish they saved this match for SummerSlam. I'm happy that we're putting it on. I hope that Gunther wins. I'd love to see him take that title off of Cody and have a big reign there. But I don't think he's going to win the title here. I think they're going to save it for the bigger show. But I just wish they would have waited to pull the trigger on the match itself until the bigger show.
I see where you're coming from, where that is definitely a SummerSlam main event, and it is. But I got myself to thinking, is Cody going to take some time off? I mean, Punk's off, man.
Yeah.
He's off. He's completely written off. Is Cody going to take some time off? Because coming up in October, that movie comes out, Street Fighter movie. And will he be back post SummerSlam to promote that? I don't know. Maybe they're giving him some time off. Do you think Gunther's winning the title at Clash?
I don't see it happening, but I'd be pleasantly surprised if it did. And I think that'll determine the fate of Cody moving forward, is whether he takes time off or not, is whether he walks out with that title or not.
That has already been billed as the main event. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It is. Yes, I saw something this past week. It has been confirmed that will be the main event.
I'm kind of surprised that they're putting that. I am and I'm not, because on the other side of things, you've got Roman and Jacob in a tribal combat match, and that, well, we all know that's just going to be a clusterfuck. What's
that going to entail? Who are they going to bring in for that? Because that's in Italy, but at the same time, you got to make it a big deal,
right? And I don't know. Do we see Jacob coming away with the title? I mean, in a tribal combat match, I don't know
You
that
know, where
I
does
do.
Solo and his where does his loyalties lie? SmackDown will be in Italy, right?
Yeah.
You got to think Solo and company will be part of that show. They'll be over there.
It'll be interesting to see how it unfolds, for sure.
You know, you're getting your Rhea Jade rematch, Roman Jacob rematch from last month, Becky Soul rematch from Saturday night's main event. And
This
then
time
is
for the
like
title.
second- What's that?
This time for the title.
This time for the title, of course. Jessica Carr has to be refereeing that match, correct?
Oh, I would absolutely. She does.
She better be. I think this is the second time Cody and Gunther have faced off in a one-on-one match.
Crazy.
The other
to
being
think
like
about that, isn't
Crown
it?
Jewel a couple years ago when Cody beat Gunther.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Kind of hard to believe, but at the same time, it's not because they've been on separate shows.
Correct. If Gunther won, it would be his first undisputed WWE championship reign. He's got 2 world heavyweight championship reigns already under his belt. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know Gunther's my guy, but I'm of the belief that he's going to win, that he's going to walk out of there as champion, that they may be giving Cody some time off. I don't know that. I'm hoping that, because what's after Clash?
Night of Champions.
And that is on.
Let me pull up the
I'm
calendar.
looking up right now. It is on June 27th. So
Okay.
essentially a month from now.
And that's a Saudi show, correct?
That is a Saudi show.
At least as of right now.
So is that a Saturday?
June 27th is. Yes, that is a Saturday.
Okay. So it's a month from now. Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, I'm really interested in Clash. And like you said, anticipate Brock and Oba being made official tonight as we record this on a Monday afternoon. Hello, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. This is the Card Subject to Change podcast by the fan, for the fan, of course, coming to you live and in living color from the Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles studio. And we are also powered by Lopez Pizza by the Slicer Pie, New York style, but here locally in downtown Davenport. I am never wrong. Nick Bull, he is the Wizard CZ, just breaking down for you the Clash in Paris card here, a little mixed bag, mixed mystery bag edition of the Card Subject to Change. Yeah, you got to believe that's going to get added tonight. Do we get another one? Because
I don't know.
The rumor always was that Rey Mysterio was going to have his last match at Clash.
Yeah. But who would he go against? He's not been really prominent in any stories.
It's a great question. And is he done wrestling now? Because this weekend on AAA, he was named the new general manager of AAA. So is that them kind of giving him his little retirement on the way out? Or will he face Dominic at some point for that AAA belt? And then, because Rey never won it, and then officially retire from in-ring? I don't know. I wonder if the general manager thing is their way of saying, hey, we're going to keep you around, and maybe he doesn't want to have a retirement match per se. I don't know. But the rumor always was, CZ, for the last 4 or 5 months leading up to WrestleMania, that he wasn't going to retire at WrestleMania. He was going to retire at Clash in Italy. And, like, no Rey Mysterio in sight on this card, and we are a week out.
Yeah. I would like to think that if he does have a last match, it's going to be against Dom. And if it's in AAA, I'm not opposed to that. But I don't know that that'll happen at this point because, like you said, rumors abound. He was going to retire at Clash, and it doesn't look like he's going to be there. It really doesn't.
No, it don't. It don't. Stay tuned on that front, but that's next week, and I'm excited for that show because, you know, what do you do with Brock and Oba? It's a foregone conclusion. It just hasn't been made official yet. What do you do with that? Does Oba win? And if Oba loses, Does that take away everything he did at WrestleMania?
That's tough to answer. I don't think it takes away everything he did, because they can set up the rematch for Brock in Minnesota at SummerSlam in his home state. And maybe that was the plan all along, but damn, what a swerve.
I think Brock had to come back to work when he didn't want to give up 50% of his pay.
I
don't know. That's the feeling that I have. And now if he comes back and totally destroys Oba, I think it takes the credibility of Oba takes a big hit, in my opinion, because think of it as a giant slayer or a monster killer, and you went out in the woods and killed this monster, and you drug this monster back into town, and everybody saw it. But when everybody looked away, this monster walked away. Now this monster came back. Your credibility kind of takes a hit. Yeah. So you think they got to keep Oba strong somehow. I don't know. Very excited for that match, mostly just to see those two beat the crap out of each other again, who we're fortunate enough to get. But two, what direction they go coming out of this show and what the paths are for Oba and then for Brock if he's going to appear at SummerSlam, later on here. Well, actually, later this summer, as we've officially kicked off into summer here on Memorial Day, but later this summer in the beginning of August in Minneapolis. But,
right.
Yeah.
Nick,
what else? Hey, Ludwig Kaiser got arrested this week.
Before we get there, I want to stay with Oba and Brock for one moment.
But don't bring that back up because I'll forget.
I will.
All right.
But it's been a while since we've done our monthly awards. Just kind of got swept by the wayside, not intentional, but is Brock Lesnar's return the moment of the year so far?
Or was his retirement?
I think it's one. I think it's one.
I don't
A
know.
and 1B.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I think it's 1A and 1B. Honestly, I could see both being tied for it. But Brock definitely has the moment of the year so far, in my opinion, with one or the other. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to I just wanted to pose that question to you before we got off the topic. No, good thing to bring up though. Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anything is if you are out of the loop and you haven't been following social media. Ludwig got arrested for battery down in Florida last week. I guess this happened a month or two ago, where he punched a guy who was basically telling him to get a room with the young woman he was kissing in the elevator. But I believe it was you who told me a little more detail on that. So I'll let you explain kind of who that was and what was going on.
Hold on here. So Ludwig's a ladies' man. We all know that.
Right.
Had stints with Tiffy, slid into Charlotte Flair's DMs, and now Ludwig Kaiser is really taken off in Mexico in AAA as El Grande Americano.
What? They're the same people?
Oh yeah, they got a big match next weekend. The Mask versus Mask.
More on that later.
But the Mask versus Mask. But Kaiser, Kaiser's a star in Mexico, and so he'll be having this match with Chad Gable, and everybody was up in arms thinking that it was going to be called off.
Right.
But what had happened? Kaiser is dating a gal named Andrea Bazarte, and she is a backstage reporter for AAA. And they were making out on an elevator. And someone was offended when they got off the elevator and made a snide comment. Have some manners. And it's come out that the person was going to threatened to call ICE on that B word, referring to Ludwig's girlfriend, who is of Hispanic descent. That tipped off Ludwig. I think Ludwig probably punched him a couple times and went on his merry way. So judge this week said he was cleared to travel for work. So that match next weekend won't be a problem between El Grande Americano and original El Grande Americano. Mask versus mask.
No, and that I'm excited to see that match. I want to see who gets unmasked, and I want to see. I mean, obviously, kind of the writing's kind of on the wall because they advertised Chad Gable for an event here coming up in a week or so.
Yeah, like June 1st. Chad Gable returns to Raw. So my ultimate dream has been, and I said this even before Ludwig got introduced into the storyline after Chad got hurt. If they just went to unmask Gable and somehow it wasn't Gable for one night, and then Gable could come back and throw that in everybody's faces and then go back to being El Grande Americano, even though everybody knows it's him. I would love that ruse, but I don't know how they would do it.
Right.
Watch a AAA show, which, by the way, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. And Ludwig Kaiser, man, is over. He's the most over guy in that company right now, bar none.
He comes down with Rio and Bravo. He's kissing babies. He's shaking hands in the mask with his nice little cape on. It's amazing to see how crazy the fans have gravitated towards him. It's really awesome. No,
it is. It is. He is way over in Mexico.
Big time.
But another wrestling related thing to see. Hey, I finally got this book done. I got the Medusa book done. The Woman Who Would Be King by Deborah Michelli. You and I know her as Medusa Michelli, Alundra Blaze. This is an excellent book. I was finally able to get it done this weekend. So it's a good read. Very deep, very personal, very vulnerable. Tells some good stories. I learned a lot from this book. For better, for worse, I learned a lot about this book. And then when talking with her last summer, always had a big respect for her because they say over and over this book, she was always treated as one of the guys, and she definitely worked like one of the guys. So I agree. I agree with Stripes here. He says that Undertaker is killing it in AAA.
Yeah.
As the booker he is. He's doing a really good job. Would I be remiss if I said I enjoy Undertaker's booking more than the latter half of his career matches? I mean, he had a few good matches there later in his career, but for the most part, it was kind of, I mean? I enjoy him more as a booker. So
he's doing a really, really excellent job. AAA is top notch. And if you haven't watched it, it's free on YouTube.
It's free at 9:00 on YouTube. And I mean, it's like a quick hour. They do a really good job with it. And the commentary team, which is now that Ray's gone, the commentary team is Corey Graves,
JBL,
John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL, and Savio Vega.
Ooh, I did not realize
he made his debut last night. As JBL said, Ray, you sandbagged us. You knew all along you were going to be the general manager and left us high and dry. And
I did see the beginning.
JBL was on fire last night.
I saw the beginning and I heard his little tirade about Ray being named the general manager. I know
he's great. He's great. He is great.
I'll kind of transition into our next topic, but before I do here, you are tuned into the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. We are broadcasting live from the Atomic Sports Cards and Collectibles studio, powered by Lopez Pizza, New York style pizza by the Slicer Pie down in downtown Davenport. My name is the Wizard CZ, and I am a certified whiz and a bona fide mage. And this here is Nick Bull, and he is never wrong. And you can't teach that. And that takes us to our next topic, Nick. Rumors are abound that Enzo and Cass are on their way back to the WWE.
Yeah, seen at the Performance Center working out. That's usually a wink, wink, nod, nod, prelude to a WWE return. They're bringing you in for a physical, working you out a little bit before they make the final commitment. You know what? I'm all for it. It seemed like AEW had nothing with Big Cass. People have been fired or let go from WWE and brought back quicker for less than what Enzo was accused of.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with him. He's done.
I'm actually excited to see him come back because
it seems like time has healed all wounds. Like, Punk and Triple H can work together. I'm sure. Hey, I'm sure Cass and I'm sure Enzo probably want steady check coming in. That's with a little more attention on screen, so they'll get that there. So I'm surprised. I don't know when they bring him back. Maybe we see it tonight. Who knows? But when you're seen at the Performance Center working out and you're not under contract, that's usually kind of viewed as them bringing you in as a preliminary and seeing what you got, seeing if it's worth the pickup.
And obviously, both of them have grown as wrestlers. I mean, maybe not as much Cass as Enzo. Cass didn't really get much a shine in AEW other than when he was under the learning tree, which, let's just face facts, that whole thing was god awful. Sorry, Chris Jericho, I love you to death, but that was just awful. Don't ever, 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 ever do it. Never, ever again. But Enzo is great on the mic. That he is. I mean, he's great in the ring too. He's really good in the ring, but his mic work is top notch. Can we get a promo between Enzo and The Miz?
I mean, if you want that, they'd go on SmackDown then with The Miz and Kit Wilson.
I mean, I think they would bury each other. I think they'd take turns burying each other on the mic because they're both excellently brilliant. I'll ask you this, and what kind of reaction do you think they're going to get when they come back?
Oh, they'll get the big pop when they come back, the welcome back, the shock. All right, they're back type of deal. And then they've got an interactive entrance and an interactive intro.
Yep.
Excuse me. And so they're going to be down. They'll be down and be saying it. So I think the fans will take them back with open arms. I don't know, just a matter of time. Maybe tonight, maybe it's after Clash. Who knows? I don't know, but I think it's a definite. I think it's not a matter of if, but when.
And I think it's going to be great. I've always been a fan of Enzo. I think, like I said, his mic work is brilliant. I got the pleasure of meeting him at Bridge City a year or two ago. Wasn't a long conversation, but got a picture with him, got an autograph from him. Seems like a genuinely cool dude, and I think he got done dirty by WWE when they let him go because the charges were ultimately dropped. But and I know he had a big beef with them too. Like you said, time heals all wounds, but they didn't stand by him when he most needed them to, and I think that was a big point of contention for a long time. I'm glad to see that we can come back together and he can, like you said, time heals all wounds.
Time and those extra zeros on that paycheck, they heal all wounds.
Yeah, those help a little bit.
What's coming up for us in the show here? We got a little pause, respite here. Usually we have a guest or reviewing something. We're just kind of shooting from the hip today, a little discussion about what's going on in the pro wrestling world. What's coming up for us here in the coming weeks?
Well, I'll talk about a couple of different things here that I can post graphics about first. This Wednesday, Mr. Undertakis, Zach Takis, and I are back with
The Undertakis.
We're back with Jack Reaper in the studio talking about fitness and accountability and all things wrestling, all rolled into one on the Wrestling with Fitness podcast. You can catch that Wednesday on the Wrestling with Fitness Facebook and YouTube pages. I'll do my best to share it here as well. I'm going to be in Waterloo. I'm not sure if you're going to be joining us, Nick, or not. I know you weren't sure on your schedule, but Saturday, the 9th pre-show podcast party for Absolute Pro Wrestling. We've got some guests lined up. I'm going to have Badger Calhoun, commentator, former wrestler. He's going to be joining me on the mic here as our co-host. We got Shank coming on, newcomer Thomas Oden, and who else? Who knows? It's always crazy. You know as well as I do. You never know what to expect from Jason Prentice when we do our pre-shows.
If there's ever truly anything card subject to change, it's that show right there, because it's live. Things get said or not said, and you're just rolling with the punches. And it's a lot. It's kind of like It's kind of like you're breaking a pack of cards. You don't know what you're going to get. The excitement, because you don't know like what's going to happen, type of deal. So matches have been made. Surprise guests have been announced on that. A lot of stuff's happened on that pre-show, and
it's a shame that we only get a half hour to do those.
Prentice does a great job of laying a surprise, usually, or an Easter egg in those shows. So stay tuned to that. Big weekend for those guys coming up next weekend, as well as card subject to change.
Now, next Sunday, we are back at our normal time here. We're not going to be reviewing Clash in Italy. We'll be watching it, but not going to review it. We have a guest scheduled. His name is Johnny Cass. He's a big gamer. He's a big wrestler. And reason we're bringing him on, we're helping him promote the Dub City Wrestling debut in Dubuque, Iowa, coming up here in just a month or two. I meant to look up the date before we went on the air, and I don't remember when that show is, but it's coming up, I believe, in June, end of June. I know Dominic Zagreus is going to be working that show, former guest of the Card Subject to Change. Big names like Austin Aries have been announced to make an appearance there, so that's pretty cool. I'm anxious to see what they do, and I'm depending on what day it is, I'm going to try and go up to Dubuque to watch the show.
Cool. Looking forward to that one. Getting a new voice, fresh face in the studio. Of course, not only hear what they're talking about with their wrestling ventures, but of course, hear about what's going on in the wrestling fandom. Love getting new people into the studio, and we love the fact that you took time out of your busy Memorial Day weekend to hop on here and listen to us, whether it was live or you listen back later. Like, follow, share, subscribe. You know where to find us. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, you know it. You can find us. Do so. Leave a comment. We love to hear from you guys. Lots going on in wrestling, and we're glad to be here talking it with you.
Before we completely wrap things up, I have not heard numbers yet, but I have to give a huge shout out to our good buddy Ricky Lee in the 5th annual Sandra Lee Memorial Card and Bike Show. I was out there briefly. I stayed about a half hour. I talked to Ricky. I talked to Buff Bagwell, former 2-time guest on the podcast. Ricky had an amazing turnout. There were it was the biggest event that I believe he's put on, with the number of cars that were there. Lash LaRue was back. Buff Bagwell was back, and with his wife. Got to chat with Buff for a few minutes. He had a big smile. He recognized me. I don't know if he could pull me out of a lineup as to where I was from, but we had talked about, he remembered being on the podcast, and I got to share.
How can you not remember that face?
Well, that's true. I mean, it is. But I was able to share. He didn't remember this. I was able to share that he gave us the first clip of our new open that started at the beginning of the year. I told him the story about how Thrasher had misheard me say scissors instead of sizzle. And when Buff walked in, as you see in the open, so glad to be here with the steak and the scissors. And he got a kick out of that. He enjoyed that we use that as our open, and put a big smile on his face. So nice seeing Buff. Congratulations to Ricky Lee. When we know how much he raised this year, we'll be sure to put that out on social, give him a shout out on air like we are right now. Ricky, we love you, and can't wait for the 6th annual.
I know the powers that be at Card Subject to Change were great. We're glad to be a part of that show, and glad to have our name attached to that. So yeah, when you get that number, Ricky, let us know. We'll definitely throw it up on here. For sure.
Well, I think, Nick, we've talked about 40 minutes here of all things wrestling, kind of been around the board of things.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch on before we go?
No, just Yeah, kind of in between books right now, getting ready to start another one. But
You mentioned that. I am on the epilogue of Chaz Warrington's book. I'm finally almost finished. I've got about, according to Kindle, I got about 20 minutes left, and then I'm done.
what's the next book after that?
That's tough. I got a couple in queue. I know I kind of bounce between 3 different books, usually at the same time. A couple of fiction, one, and I've been including nonfiction. I've got Shawn Michaels' book in my queue somewhere, so that might be where I go next. I know Chaz, when he was on the show, mentioned being inspired by Pete Gass. I did pick up his book on my Kindle, so just to see what he does with his. So that might be interesting. I don't know.
Cool.
I may just have to spin the wheel and see where we land. Spin the wheel, make
the deal. Well, we're glad you spun the wheel, made the deal, and found us. We are the Card Subject to Change podcast. Of course, we are coming to you live from the Atomic Sports Cards and Collectible Studio. They can be found in Milan, Illinois. We are also powered by a Lopez Pizza by the slice or pie, New York style, but here locally in downtown Davenport. So glad you found us. So glad that you've joined us. So glad that we're talking wrestling together. Glad that you've found us for another episode.
Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. For my tag team partner, Mr. Never Wrong, Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. We will see you back here Sunday with another episode of Card Subject to Change.